students in Chicago. And today, I am so stoked. I have guests here, and we are going to be talking about the power of team. I would like you all to take a moment and welcome Ms. Chana and Ms. Shantella. You ladies can do introductions for yourselves. Please share who you are. I don't know if you want to share what you work with, how long you've been in education. It's totally up to you.
Okay, well, I'll start. My name is Chana, everyone. Mrs. Idris, for the students out there.
Right.
But I've been in education now for 23 years, and I started out as a music teacher, then transitioned into reading, and then have kind of been in the reading world ever since. And now I'm currently an ESL resource teacher. So that's my little background.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm Shantella, Mrs. Jakes. What do? I have been in education for 15 years. I've been a classroom teacher for 13, and now I'm assistant principal for 2.
Okay.
Assistant principal of academics.
Nice. Well, I want to welcome you guys, and more importantly, I wanted you all to here because you all know what exactly it means to be in a team. So you had the opportunity to work together for 8 years.
8
years.
Yes. Work BFL.
Yes, forever.
On the same team and like collaborating and working to really push your students to the next level. So who better else to have in my presence to talk about the power of team. But there's before we get started, I want to read just a little blurb from this Forbes article that I have here that talks about the power of a team. When I read this, I want to see how this resonates with you all, because when I read it, I was just like, whoa, okay. I feel you. It really makes a difference. And then, of course, what I do, I scrolled and lost the paragraph I was going to look at. All right. It says, nope, that's not it. We'll kick off questions and I'll come back to this because I'm like, what did I just do with the paragraph? Okay, I want to start with just talking about the capacity that you two worked in. Like what grade, how did, what was your role in as a team member, how often you met. So how do you guys want to take that and go from there? Jump on it.
Okay. Well, we have taught 7th grade. Again, we taught 7th grade together for 8 years. I was the math teacher.
Okay.
She was the ELA teacher. And what else?
So when we first started as working together as a team, it was an all veteran team.
Yeah.
All the that was dope. That first team was really, really great. And as I was kind of talking earlier, so the way the teams were set up, there's like 200 students at each grade level. So you have a maroon team and a gold team. But we never even thought, we never crossed our minds to compete against each other. We were immediately, we're the dream team. You know what I mean? We worked together as a team, and we brainstormed together, we planned together. How can we do this together? We always tried to utilize, I feel, each other's strengths. We ate lunch together almost every day.
Yeah.
Because one of my mantras that I tell people, who you work with is just as important as where you work. So you could be in a bomb location, but if that vibe, that energy, that willingness to be able to collaborate, people willing to share, ideas and share, just share of yourself. If not, it really can impact the flow of what you're doing, your enjoyment, how you're able to really, really accommodate your students.
No, for sure.
You cannot work in isolation,
For sure.
especially like in middle school, high school. You can't work in isolation. You could be an all-star teacher,
Right.
but if you are not a collaborator,
That team.
it takes that team.
Yeah.
It takes a
So
team.
that you all could be consistent.
Speaking of, I found the paragraph under it. It says the power of a team exponentially increased by their openness and diversity. When multiple members of an organization come from varying backgrounds, whether the difference are in culture, age, sex, skill sets, talents, education, or even their roles in a company, these numerous perspectives allow them to leverage their experience to solve even the most challenging work issues. And so that's what I'm saying. First, I want to hear from you, like how that resonates with you. But it sounds like part of that is what I'm hearing you saying is like, you have to be a team. You have to come together. You have to have the relationship.
Yeah.
So what I just read, tell me how that resonates with you all.
Can you reread, if you don't mind, that last sentence?
Yeah, it says whether the differences are in culture, age, sex, skill sets, talents, education, or even their roles in the company. These numerous perspectives allow them to leverage their experiences to solve even the most challenging work issues.
That really resonated with me.
So we met once a week as a whole team, and then we also met once a week with our content partner, so that the kids were kind of on the same path.
Okay.
Because we were teaching the same curriculum, so just trying to keep them on the same path. Because kids talk and it's like, well, what y'all doing? We ain't doing it. We ain't learning that. So
Right.
we was trying to make sure that the pacing stayed the same too. So we kept we met weekly.
Nice. So when you guys met, were there particular roles that you all spelled out for the team, or like
So
how did
I
that work?
was the team lead. Like my last couple of years there.
The last several years. When we first started as a dream team, I forgot who the team lead was at that time.
V.
V
or
never
Gina?
did. It was Gina, I think.
Yeah.
I think Gina did it for a while, for a good little while.
So the team lead, they met with what was it called? The instructional leadership team.
Okay.
So we would meet with the principal, AP, the admin team.
Right.
They would give us their concerns. We would give them the teachers' concerns and try to meet in the middle for a solution. They give the next steps, the action steps. We take it back to the team, and then that's how it was supposed to flow.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's how it's supposed to.
Okay. A little shade there, but okay.
That's how it's supposed to
Supposed
flow.
to flow.
So but when I guess it all depends on your administration. So sometimes the action step might not work for our team because we know our kids, and so we would then have to, as a team, figure out how are we going to implement this action step to work best for our kids. And then that's where the power of the team came into place.
Did you all feel that a lot of the ask of the admin team was student related, or were the things the ask more or less like a box to check, or a box to check, or was it administration stuff? Like if you had to put a percentage around that, like, because at the end of the day, everything should be student centered,
Yeah.
and like what pushes students to grow and develop, right? So like those asks, those challenges, if you had to put a percentage on it, like what percentage was student, what percentage was like just boxes to check, and what percentage was probably like network or district stuff,
Go on here. Because I already see them ass roll.
Right, and you listen. If I would have to break it down percentage wise, I'm sad to say, I would have to say probably 60-40 or 70-30 was more so, and on the bigger number being them making sure what district was telling them to get done. Got done. It was more checklist type of stuff. You have to have this, you have to have that, and the other percentage might have been student centered.
Yeah.
I would say so. It definitely swung towards checklists.
Yeah. So how do we push the bar on that? And that's a huge question I'm asking, right? Like, how do you push the bar to ensure that the students are in I don't know, maybe some of the district stuff was like, oh, in order to get this, in order to do this, this is how we get money for students. I'm not sure, like, what those boxes were. Well, I have an idea, but 'cause I've been on that end, right?
Right.
But like, I think that is a huge conversation that we all need to continue to focus on. Is like, when we have these long lists of like to-dos, like how do we go back and like circle around, but like, is this related to kids, and how do we flip that around to ensure that we're pushing this where we're still remembering to focus on the students? Yeah, you have these things to do, but we gotta really make the student focus. If not, then we'll be drenched in all of those things that are network demands as opposed to really pushing students. So that's a heavy load to
So I feel like that's our focus. Like, we're passionate about our subjects, and so everything that we did was about our kids. So we gave pushback, and administration don't like pushback.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if this doesn't work for my kids, we're asking, what's the point? Why am I doing this? If I sent you this document already, why I gotta recreate another one? I'm just gonna forward you the one I sent you before, and then you make it work. Get the information that you need from there, right? And then especially if you're not being supportive of what we're asking, but you want me to do this mass checklist of things for you, and you're not doing what we're asking you to do for our students, because they your kids too, right? Even if you just push them in the classroom, whatever, they your kids too.
Look, I'm
So-
sitting here like,
Right, you want me to keep them in the classroom for my time period, but like, you know, like it's a give and a take.
yeah.
And so we do what we supposed to do, and we would just like for our administration to do the same thing.
No, yeah, for sure.
So that was a big takeaway for me
Yeah.
once I switched over.
Because now you're in that role.
Right.
Well, I know for a fact you get emails that you're probably like, I know I'm not about to spend the next 2 hours doing this one thing for network when I actually need to be coaching a teacher right now, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know. So
yeah.
that's a whole, look, we can jump in there.
Right.
We can jump in there. But I'm trying to switch gears because I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that or.
Just like when you said about the paragraph, and Shani kind of started tapping into it about, you know, every admin is different.
Yeah.
You know, so when she started saying, you know, needing that support, team is so dire when you can't rely on admin support. And that's
Yes,
the situation we
yeah.
found ourselves in,
Yeah.
where we had to, on a constant, daily, regular basis, you know, figure out how to address behavior inside and outside the classroom, during transitions, in the hallway, and this and that. And even, okay, if the data wasn't where it needed to be, nobody was coming to model. Nobody
Correct.
was coming to say, oh, this and this, you know, they'll create a sheet and fill this in and look at the strands, but they weren't coming to model and say, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we had to, okay, your data was, you know, was better
Right.
than ours.
Yeah.
on
Rely
that
on
side.
each other's
What-
strengths.
Right,
Yeah.
pull on
Yeah.
each other and be each other's think partners
Yeah.
and each other's support. You know, even you utilize each other's relationships. Oh, you can deal with such and such a student, or you know, you and them
Yeah.
deal with, you know, let them go in there for a little while, you know, or
Right.
you know,
Create
things like
those systems. We had
right.
the folder,
So yes,
the purple folder.
yes, just send them on the errand, low key, just get them a break. You know, things like that. When
Have to
you-
create brain breaks.
yes,
We didn't even know what we was doing, but we was doing.
but we was doing it.
But we worked that out, and then that was the thing too, relying on your team for those compliance things.
Yeah.
Oh, you good at Excel? Go ahead. Let me throw you this data real quick. Make that up. Send that out to the team.
Yes,
Like whatever the strength was,
yeah.
we relied on our team for that.
Because
That's
like they
good.
say, many hands make light work. You
Yes.
know, no one person should want, you know, try to do it all.
Yeah.
It ain't about being an all-star. You want the team to be
Right,
a star, and the
yes.
students, you want the students to win. So
No,
like
for
we
sure.
said, we would really try our best to utilize each other's strengths. If you were good at something, like she said, jump on it, you go ahead and get that done. Okay, I'll do this part.
Right.
I'll
Right.
get this, and it came together.
That's awesome. And a little bit into the pros and cons of the team, right? Like we know that there's importance in team. Right?
Yeah.
We know that obviously more hands and you know in a pie actually make it look better. Like everybody don't believe that, but you know, especially when you're bringing different cultures together, different
Yeah.
people. But there are pros and cons. So like teams, there are pros and cons to it, and there's a lot of dynamics around that you have to get around in order
Yeah.
to even build that team. So you guys want to talk about like what are some of the things that you all may have done to build relationships? I think you guys had an advantage in the beginning. I think y'all kind of like some preliminary relationships were built before y'all actually got to the same
Yeah.
building together. So that kind of helped. But then what about like, you know, obviously the pros and cons to building to teams, and then what it takes to like build those relationships and get there. Because I know it can be challenging.
I guess the cons would be like when a person don't have the same mindset as you. It's like we're doing this for the greater good. This is for the kids. It's for the kids. Like I need you to do your part, pull your weight. Or if you got a team member that's the weakest link, they just gonna play the back. You know, you don't never bring nothing to the table. Oh, somebody else gonna do it. You know, like they look for the others to carry the weight, and they just riding the bus. We don't need nobody riding the bus.
How do you get past that?
calling them out on their stuff. Which we had no problem. So you know what? You gotta be good at something. You have to be good at something.
I'm reading this book. It's very old. It's by Jack Welch called Winning. He talks about the power of candor and how it's so not accepted in the United States and in a lot of places, and how calling them out, if you will, putting it on the table, like what's, what the truth is, can be so controversial and cause so many issues within a team.
Right.
Have y'all experienced that?
Yeah, we had a couple tears, right? We poured some tears. But I don't know. I just feel like at the end of this, we had to explain, like, nobody's trying to be harsh. But what we're saying is it's gonna make your job easier if you get on board with what it is that we're trying to do. Especially we've been here, done this year after year after year. Like, this is just how I roll around here. I get what your expectations are, what you think is gonna happen or what should be happening, but this is the reality that we're in. So I need you to do A, B, and C so you can leave out here not burnt out. Right.
That part.
It's just you gotta be honest with people.
Yeah. I always jot down a few notes about things that just kind of stand out to me that I hear, but I don't want to get to those things right now. Tell me about the pros. I mean, we talked about some of the pros already, but we talk about the pros of like an importance of a team. Like,
I would say too, the support that you have. You need that from each other.
Yeah.
You need even the laughter and the you know what I'm saying, the stuff that's non-educational. I'll say that you need that almost just as much, because we're still people. Although we're educators, we're not robots.
Right.
So we have things going on in life, and we still got to come and do our jobs. So for somebody to see that you having a day and to say, pull you in during a break and give you a hug, or say what's going on, or for like her and I, we used to have our decompression time. At the end, every day we just sit on down, right on our little couch in the hallway, and we would she would be able to, we could both vent, whether it was school related or personal, and we really could like allow our brains to kind of decompress before we had to enter home and start phase 2. The next hat that you have to wear. You needed that downtime, you needed that decompression, but like I say, I would say like the friendships that develop, the support that develops, like I said, whether it's centered around education or personal, that's like super key. That's another pro that comes out of it. Sometimes you, like I say, her and I became friends outside of work. It started just like you and I. It started at work, but it built beyond and across that. And now I know no matter where she goes, like how she's at AP, I'm still where I am, and everything, but
In a different capacity.
right, in a different capacity, but we are still friends. And even if her and I both leave education, we won't leave each other.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think that's one of the one of the largest is the support, the sense of community that you build in and outside of the workplace.
Yeah, I like that, the sense of community, because it is. You do need someone to just be like, hey, I see you.
Right.
I
Like,
see
you
you.
good today? Like we do for our students. When you are a relationship builder, like, 'cause that's one of the major components of being a great teacher. I would say.
Correct.
You have to. Nobody's saying be the kid's friend.
Right.
That's the misconception that people take. It's not about that. It's just about, like you say, letting kids know that you see them, that you're observing. You pay attention to the things they like. They don't. All of your students function differently. What works for one is not going to work for the other.
Correct.
So part of that emotional intelligence that you have to tap into as a teacher is being able to quickly assess those things. So if I see a student, I can tell they're not quite themselves, they're having a day, I can make things so much smoother and easier if I catch them early before they come and say, you okay?
quick check
You have-
in.
right, check in right quick and say, you need a moment, and let them go in the hallway, or let them do, something else, shift, or have a conversation with me to help, bring that before, because if not, if I'm not paying any attention to their affect and what's going on with them, they can come to the classroom and set it off. Now the day they went a whole nother way.
And we gonna send a quick text. Look, she on one this morning.
Come and get it, now
Yeah.
they tripping. But
Yeah.
had I peeped, okay, something's going on here, and then I take a moment to, kind of get ahead of it, or quote unquote offer some support, do a little, like you said, do a little
Check in.
check in right quick. That can shift the whole moment of the day.
So how does that, I'm talking about the situation you just talked about, a student, like identifying a student and knowing that there's something going. How do you communicate that with the team? Do you, or do you just handle it in the moment?
We had a text.
Yeah, we
Group
would.
text.
Yeah, group text as well as like you handle the situation in the moment, but that's why, like I say, eat lunch together and things like that, discussing students. It's not always negative.
Right.
Sometimes you laughing about the,
Yeah.
so and so is so funny that today they said that, you relaying stories. So now we all picking up when we hear certain names that we don't teach those students directly on the other team, but because we talk to the other team
Yeah.
and they're sharing with us who their high flyers are, who their funny students are, who their little say whatever. Now when I cross paths with them, I know a little bit better how to interact with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you find ways to communicate. Like she said, whether you shoot a quick text, an email, or in passing. For me, a lot of times it was in like passing conversations, or when we would sit down to lunch, or when we had any type of downtime, where we could say, yeah, so and so, I really think they're going through something. They're a good kid, but
Yeah.
Right.
this is what I noticed. If you they're not the kid to call out in front of everybody. You need to pull them to the side because that makes them, those types of things. And so you store those in your mental Rolodex. Like, oh, okay, so you know how to interact better with that student.
I'm glad you said that because this conversation